Hello, welcome to Amateur Radio with W8CPT. This video is on the new firmware update on the Anytone 878. It's 3.06, specifically on the satellite functions. There's a few issues you need to be aware of, and I'm going to show you that as soon as I can find my mouse here. So you're going to want to, when you want to update the KEPs, which you should do that every time before you work the satellite, at least every day, the day of you working the satellites, especially for the ISS, because they could change it due to space junk being in their way. So you're going to want to hit Tool, then you want to go down to Satellite Data Update, and you see it's blank. For the United States, I found that you want to change this default one to the top one, which is amsat.org daily tle.txt. So click on that, hit HTTP download, and as you see, you get a whole bunch of satellites on here. The ones over here in this first column, where I get my mouse here, if they say yes, they're on. For some reason it just put yes on all these, and it hasn't been doing that. So let me close it and reopen it, because I don't like that. You don't want them all to say yes, because then you gotta uncheck them all and say no. So satellite data, we want to switch it to the top one and download. And they all say yes again. I do not understand why. It didn't do that before. So I don't know if they're able to play with this software or what, but we want to turn off all the ones that we don't use. I don't use AO27. It might be active and I'm unaware. I don't use UO11. AO27 I think might be active. I'll leave that one. FO29 I don't think is active. This is a weather satellite. No clue why they would want that showing active. GO32, don't know what that satellite is. Okay, so the first one that we know we can work is the ISS. So we want that to say yes, so it writes it to your radio. The problem that we're having is there's a tone on the receive and transmit and the receive. It's not listed which is which up here, but I tested this. Since receive is first, transmit is second. The first one is receive, the second one is transmit. You do not want a tone on receive. So you go to the CTCSS for receive, click on it, shut it off. Just click in a box, it disappears. SO50, same thing. There's no receive. So you're going to have to go over here, shut it off. Alright, click over here and it goes away. So none of these are on. Let's go down to the next satellites. FM satellites that we know, these are all off. Alright, these two I'm not sure about. IO86 might be a single sideband. I'm not sure. Lilisec 2, I don't think it's active anymore, but they got them turned on, so we'll just leave it on. You can try listening to them, see if you hear them. AO91 is active. You're only supposed to work that in the daylight because of battery issues. It doesn't have a receive tone, so you need to shut that off there. On the receive, click and it goes away. PO101, same thing, doesn't have a receive tone. Shut that off. And we're good. And then let's get to where I can scroll. All these are off. Some of these may be SSTV receive. You can put them in your radio if you want, but you're going to have to put the receive frequency. Look it up online and put it over here. and then turn this to yes, and then you'll have the receive frequency to receive SSTV. I'm not going to bother with that right now. I'm just doing the FM voice ones that I know are working. So now we know we got it right. So what you're going to do is you're going to write it to your radio by hitting this button. And my radio is hooked up. So it's writing to the radio. So it should be good to go. So now, of course, if you just do it this way every time, you're going to have to shut these off every time until we hopefully can get Anytone to shut them off by default. So a way you can, I think you can get around it, is you can hit export data and you can save it somewhere on your computer that you know. I've already done that. It's this 11111 file. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that because I already have it saved. If I can hit my mouse. So what you're going to do, the ISS, anytime you work it, you should update your caps. So let's say I haven't worked it in 2 days. I'm going to go to Tool, go to Satellite Data Update, and instead of hitting this TLE thing, I'm going to hit Load Data, and I'm going to hit my file that I saved, and there we go. It has all the ones that are writing to the radio. And it has the CTCSS tone off for receive. So I believe if you write this to the radio, it's going to update the caps. And I'm only assuming that. I don't know for sure because it says will be written to the radio CPS satellite data. Continue. So I'm going to say yes, it's writing it to the radio. I'm assuming that updates the caps. I do not know for sure. I don't know if you have to hit this download and, you know, hit the top one again here, which I can't get it to click. And this is for, oh, I missed it. And hit the, you know, and do this. But see, if you do that, I'll show you what it does. It goes back to the default with all that on. So anyway, I'm not 100% that your load file updates the caps. I'm going to find out about that and I'll let you know. Another thing that I need to let you know about, let me get the radio going here, is, okay, so you go on your satellite. If you don't know this, you have to go to the GPS and you have to turn it on. So select and it's on. So now you can let it read the under location here. If you put that to the top one was a GPS beacon, once you have a satellite lock, it'll read that for your location. I know I don't have a lock yet. I'm just going to use this fixed beacon, which is where I'm at right now. So I'm going to select fixed beacon 1, go back, go down to satellite, and it's going to predict. I'm going to pause it while it's predicting. It takes a little bit. All right, so since this is a how-to video, I loaded this with my saved file. And then I wrote it to the radio. There's no satellite showing up. So we're going to make sure our location's set. Actually, you know what? We're going to shut the radio off just to make sure. I'm just finding more bugs every time I mess around with this. This is crazy. I'm not redoing the video again. So Anytone, if this is making it look bad, I'm sorry. I've redone this video 4 times now, and every single time I found a bug that I had to talk about. All right, so we already got the GPS turned on. We're going to go to satellite. My location's fixed beacon 1. I'm selecting it. And I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to satellites. It's predicting. I'm going to leave the video on while it's predicting this time. Nothing there. Okay. So you cannot do what I just showed you about saving your file and loading it. So let me hook this back up. Hold on a minute. All right. Got my radio hooked up. We are going to go to Tool, Satellite Data Update. This is going to be a pain in the butt every time you're going to update KEPs until Anytone fixes this. But you're going to have to go to, for the US, you want this top one, amsat.org. I already said that in the video, so we're going to go ahead and select it. You're going to want to hit the download. And then you got to go through and shut all these off again, because none of these are active. I don't know why they're default on. One of these is even a weather satellite that I don't even think is active anymore. NOAA 15, but they got it shown yes. So gonna have to go through and turn all these off, because you don't want them on your radio when they're not FM satellites. First one is ISS. Shut off the receive tone. SO50, shut off the receive tone. Yeah, see, look, it even threw in these now that weren't there before, that are turned on. CO55, I gotta shut that one off. See, I don't know why it's randomly just adding satellites that are turned on. I just don't get it. I mean, come on, do better here, Anytone. All right, so the next satellite, I'm just really frustrated. I tried to do this how-to video for everybody like 5 times now. I just keep finding more and more things that are bugs. I don't think these two are active anymore. I'm going to leave them because they might be. You can listen to them and see. AO91 is, you can activate that one, but only in the daylight. It doesn't have a receive tone. We're shutting it off. I feel like a broken record because I already said this. But I'm going to do it again in the video. So if Anytone watches this, they're going to have to watch 15 minutes of video instead of 5 minutes, because I keep finding more bugs. You want to shut the tone off on PO101. And then the rest of them are all off. Some of them are SSTV, like I said, and you can add them. But I'm not doing that right now. Now, the only other thing I want to point out, in case Anytone is watching this, is there's an ARM CTCSS tone for SO50. It's 74.4. As soon as I find SO50 here, probably look at, yeah, okay, it's right here. So it looks like they do have where you can turn on. I'm going to drop my phone. Hopefully I didn't shut the video off. It turned on the flash though. Okay. So SO50 is right here. It has a spot where you can turn on the arming tone. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on CTCSS for that. And then over here you click, and it's 74.4. Okay, so it has a spot for that. I'm going to have to find out what combinations of buttons you hit with the PTT in order to send that tone to turn on the satellite. But it looks like they put that feature in there. I just don't know what buttons to hit. So anyway, I had to go back through and I had to select which satellites I wanted, which is a pain in the butt. Now I'm going to write it to the radio. So here we go. We're writing it to the radio. It says write data completed. We're going to go ahead and shut this page. Now we're going to go back to the radio. Hopefully the satellites are in there now, since loading the file didn't update the KEPs. Let's see if they're in here. Alright. So we go to satellites. Our location is set to fixed beacon 1, which is my coordinates. We're going to hit satellite. It's predicting. Hopefully they're in here this time. And they are. So this is the first one. You can see the squelch is open now because I shut off that tone. Something else to point out, which I don't really like this feature. Anytone must have did it for a reason, but if the satellite's not overhead and you key up, I guess I better turn the sound up. It doesn't let you transmit unless the satellite's overhead. So I wish they just do away with that feature. I should be able to transmit whenever I want in case I'm testing a radio to make sure the tone is correct. But whatever, just be aware. You're going to hear this. If the satellite isn't overhead, because they only let you transmit when it's overhead. So don't think it's broke. It will make it so you can transmit once the satellite's overhead. Again, I hope they get rid of that feature because I like to test my radios when the satellite isn't overhead, especially when there's new software like this. So the ISS is probably rising in about 8 hours. 850, yeah, so 903. I think that's correct. So the caps are correct. So getting there, Anytone, but you're not quite there yet. Great job. I'm glad you're doing it. Hopefully we get all the bugs worked out pretty soon, and it's not as annoying every time we try to find bugs. Thanks for watching Amateur Radio, W8CPT, Captain Don, saying 73.